What's up, everybody? I'm your host, Jay Barlow. This is the Livewire Sports Channel podcast, and today I have with me.
Todd Jones, man. What's up, everyone?
What up,
Glad
bro?
to be back on here.
How you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good, man.
That's
Glad
what's
to be back
up.
on here, man.
Glad to have you back on here. Now,
Cool.
we covered a lot on that last episode. I had a really good time
Yeah.
doing that.
Yeah.
And I
Y'all should
think
go
we.
check that out if y'all haven't.
Okay, I see you. Look, you on top of it. I gotta pick my game up, man.
Hey, I gotta keep on top of my ball. I gotta
Yeah,
pick up my ball, man.
players mess up. Now, where we left off of was the all-time teams that should have got a ring, and we went over the MVP race and all the other type stuff. And it kind of left a question of what if the situation with the virus and the outbreak and all this other stuff didn't happen, and it made me think, what about NBA what ifs? So I want to get into the injury list. What if these guys didn't get hurt? Of course, that's Grant Hills, your T Max, your Derrick Roses. What do you think the league would look like now? What do you think NBA history look like now if some of these guys didn't get hurt? Because this is a long list. Ralph Sampson. Yeah.
That list is long. There was a lot of guys that showed like, oh, he about to be that next one. Then all of a sudden, injury.
Yeah.
Boom. Never the same person. And it's so disappointing. And it's like, it hurts like not only the person because obviously that hurts, but it hurts everybody else because it's like, man, because we saw what you was able to do and like, you was about to be that next guy.
And then I'm thinking of that Derrick Rose. That one hurt the most. I remember watching that game and him going down, and that one hurt different. With Grant,
My heart sucked.
that was the Grant Hill, the T Mac things, those medicine. If you got injured back then, it could be something not as extreme as an Achilles or a meniscus, and you could be done. But when Derrick fell, his it was just that really broke a lot of people down because Derrick was really, Steph Curry of dunking. Really, I mean, he was really next up. He was there. He was literally already there.
I'm trying to see if I could give everybody a picture of how we was looking at Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose in Chicago people was looking at him like he was going to be like the next Jordan.
Yeah.
You couldn't find anybody that did not like seeing Derrick Rose play basketball because he was so exciting to watch. His athleticism on the court was so different because he was so fast. He was able to attack, and he always came through in the big moments for the city of Chicago.
Absolutely.
And that's another thing too. He was a hometown kid. He's from Chicago. They don't say that he was from like the University of Memphis. They said from Chicago, #1 Derrick Rose.
Yep.
That's what they said. So not only he was this young guy and an MVP, he was a hometown favorite, and it turned out to be everybody was drawn on to Derrick Rose by the way he played. But then all of a sudden, when you saw that injury, and like it just seemed like a hush in the crowd, just like.
Even if you weren't a Bulls fan, that one hurt. Even if you weren't a Bulls fan, that one hurt. That one hit everybody. And I think that he just had one of those kind of personalities, one of those spirits about him that was just like, almost like if your big brother got hurt or something, it's like, come on, man. Like, nah, not this.
Not this one. Not this guy. Like his thing. And I'm a Pistons fan. Okay? So while I saw him doing all these dunks on my Pistons, I'm like, just turned me inside. But it's Derrick Rose, I had to live. I was cool with it. But, but like, it shows that even people who are not like legit Chicago Bulls fans love watching Derrick Rose play.
Absolutely.
And like for that injury to like basically like take away, basically majority of his career because he had to sit on the sidelines, and you watch him have to fight and fight and fight to get back to who he is today. And like the way he's playing today, he's playing well. He's playing really good basketball.
Yeah.
But that like he could have been so much better if he didn't have to go through those injuries.
People talk about Westbrook being the most athletic point guard. I don't even think it was close. Derrick, man, like Russ is power.
Derrick
Derrick could glide.
Right there. That was identical.
But you know what? I'm gonna throw another one in there that people don't give enough respect to. John Wall got bounced. I don't know why people forget about John Wall in terms of these athletic point guards. John is up there with the best of them. And he's going through an injury thing right now, and I don't know how he's gonna come out
Yeah.
of it. But
Yeah.
and I'm hoping he's able to, because he was I'm from here, the area of Washington, so he was a fan favorite here, and that makes me think of Gilbert Arenas. What if he didn't get hurt? Hibachi, he was killing, and it's like
Yeah.
that's another one that people don't. He doesn't get mentioned like the other guys. I mean, his personality was I'm gonna just leave it at that. But yeah, but I remember, but there was a lot of people that used to come to school with the black and gold and the blue, Agent Zero jerseys on. Man, he was the man around here.
He was. I give you that. I give you props. Like, he was that dude. And I'm gonna say there's two people that I want to bring up, but I'm gonna bring up this one because I know that this probably is definitely under the rug for everybody that people legit forgot about.
Right.
A guy in Portland going by the name of Brandon Roy.
Yeah.
Brandon Roy had go. The boy was good, okay? I think in like 2-3 years, he kept improving where people was talking about, you know what, this guy just might be that next one. But then all of a sudden, just like the top that we talking about, injuries came in and took away his basketball livelihood for the most part. Like, he came back briefly, but he wasn't the same guy.
No, he
wasn't that same guy.
He was respected, but it was a different kind. You know what I mean? Just like, oh, that's Brandon, so he'll give you a bucket. But it wasn't like, I have to get some rest tonight because he will torch me out here.
Right. He was the guy that, like, before he got hurt, I was like, okay, I need to go ahead and get some good night's sleep because I know I'm going to be in for a long way against Brandon Roy. Because he, like I said, this guy was, before he got hurt, 3-time All-Star. 3 straight years, 08, 09, 010.
Yeah.
And he won his rookie of the year was in 07.
Yeah.
So after his rookie year, he was shooting to the roof. He was going through the roof.
Yeah.
Second team All-NBA, third team All-NBA. This guy was making a resume for himself to be considered one of the better two guards that we've seen.
Yeah.
But injuries went ahead and just took away a lot of his career. And it didn't have to even it was just like knee problems. And I think that's been like the key for a lot of these guards or players in general. It's like the knee or like anywhere below.
What a lot of people don't understand, you are literally putting mileage on your body. Think about running in a real game. You're going to get at least 2 miles out of it. You're literally putting mileage on your body. That's why when these guys in their late 30s, they got gray hairs and stuff like that. Given there are people in our age group that age poorly, but in terms of like these professionals, like LeBron James isn't even 37, 38? You know he's using Just for Men. Like, he's dyeing his facial hair. Like, I mean, it's crazy how much mileage they put on their body. You have to take into account the traveling too, all the stuff that it's a very they have to have those trainers with them 24/7. They have to have meal prep, all that type of stuff, because I mean, all that traveling in and out of hotels, the games, the practices, the warm up before the game, and then that's not including overtimes and when you're working out in the summer, and especially if you on the Olympic team, you're just racking up literal mileage on your body.
Yeah, like a lot of mileage. And God rest his soul, Kobe Bryant was, there's a prime example of what the mileage has gone through his body. Like, you saw him playing with like messed up fingers. Like, he had to get his knee drained like multiple times.
Yeah.
Like, he played with probably almost every possible injury that you could think of. Kobe Bryant might have had it and played through it and still put up like 30. It's crazy how, like, He can't take it. They have to get like some sort of rest, and that's why you see like from what the Spurs did with their players, like with Tim Duncan, when he was getting older, like it was just rest him. Like they need to sit him because he knows that like he can't play like back-to-back games like that anymore. Can't do that. That's why you see like a lot of players managing their bodies so much.
But that's what I wanted to get into, and that's kind of why I set it up like that. This load management crap, because I got to get this off my chest. Load management should be just that. Not participating is not load management. That's just not performing. You're a professional athlete getting paid millions of dollars to be a professional athlete. When we say load manage, play for the kids that has never gotten to see you play. People spend their hard-earned money to, bring kids to see these people play. They want to, get the signature, wear your jerseys, all that. Lace them up. You play. It's a 48-minute game. Play 12. That's load management. You're performing. You aren't playing the full game. You're managing. You're watching the minutes. That's all you're just setting a minutes restriction. That's all you're doing. I think as a professional player, you have a responsibility, especially when guys like Bill Russell, Wilt, they logged all those minutes and Bill Russell couldn't even stay at the same hotel as his teammates, but he still went out and performed. Exactly. And you're talking about the fans being disrespectful back then, and so he wasn't up for it some days. You know what I mean? Like, he's a human. And so I feel like it's just wrong for these guys to just sit out, especially making the money that you're making, having the circumstances that you have. You're blessed to be in that position. Go perform. And I've had this debate with a lot of people, but that's where, to me, guys like a Kobe, Jordan, and that's where you become a legend.
That's why they become more respected,
Exactly. Like, you didn't just, my tummy hurt. Man, don't nobody want to hear that. Don't nobody want to hear that. And Kawhi, to me, is one of the best players in the world, and a lot of people talk about the pop thing and all that. People twisted that and molded that into something else, because
I honestly really don't know that story because it got twisted and turned so much. It's like, well, who the heck do I believe then? Like,
but when Pop and them were doing it, it was because Tim Duncan was 58 years old. Like, like he was resting his players. Like, now it got out of control when they just didn't send like Tony Parker and Ginobili and Tim Duncan to the one game. They just sent them all the way back to San Antonio, and the team was on the other coast. I'm like, yo, come on, now y'all going too far with it. But people have taken this load management thing and just said, oh, load management, I'm not gonna hurt. Don't tell me Kawhi, his thigh hurts, and then that's like when LeBron did in the finals. I'll never forget this. This man went and dunked on 3 people with his right hand. He comes to the podium in the playoffs with a cast on his right hand. Oh yeah, my right hand was. I don't want to hear that. You just dunked on my 3 favorite players.
Don't cut this off. No, don't cut this off. You cut it off at the head. Don't do that. No, I'm gonna take. Hold on. Wait a minute. So here we go. People that's watching this video, you gonna tell me, okay? Game 1. Now he put up historic numbers. Game 1. Let's take it down the way, okay?
Right, but J.R. Smith didn't care about none of that.
Hear me out. Game 1, okay? And it says that like he punched like a billboard or punched a wall or some crap, right? Whatever he did, he punched something because he was showing frustration, and I'll be frustrated too if I do all this and I still don't win. Okay? Right. Game 2, you're playing, boom, 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 you're dunking, no problem, nothing happened, didn't win, but no signs of like injury or nothing.
Yeah.
Game 3 at home, you're in Cleveland. Same thing, doing everything normal, dribbling with both hands, dunking with both hands, shooting, etc., passing, trying to deflect passes. Nothing. Game 4, it's the last game of the series, they lose, get swept. Like I said, nothing happened, okay? No, like, dribbling same hands, you get smacked, none of that crap, okay? Right. Then you come up to the press conference and you're holding a cast saying that you broke your hand in game 1. Really?
And that's the kind of stuff that, to me, gets you dropped on the list. Like, that's why I'm like, nah, man, I can't put you on my mount. Come on now.
Now, here's my thing with that. It's LeBron James, okay? It's not like it was any other guard. No, It's LeBron James. This guy is being considered the greatest, if like one of the greatest players, if not in other people's mind, the greatest player of all time.
Mm-hmm.
You're telling me that y'all going to hold this type of news for 3 whole games? So you broke your hand 3 games ago, and you've been playing with a broken hand, no problem, and you haven't. And he didn't show no grimace, like he didn't say none of that stuff. He didn't do nothing. He didn't hold his hand. He didn't have nobody putting treatment on his hand or none of that.
Well, see,
like you know how they go into timeout, you see people in and they're in their little huddle and then people talking and whatnot.
Right.
You don't see nobody working on his man hand. You didn't see none of that.
Well, see,
none
that's
of that at all.
we're in the what if section.
Shoot, my hand's broken. Yeah, we need to come up with some excuse. Shoot, I got swept. I need to come up with something. Why do you have to control the narrative? We already know from the start that you had no chance in the hell of winning.
That's the thing about it. Everybody's like, well, if they won game 1, shut up. They said the same thing about Kawhi versus KD and them. Y'all really thought the Spurs was... Come on now. Like, come on, man.
Scratch that. That was the same thing they said about Allen Iverson in 2001 when he beat the Lakers. When they won game 1 at LA. And then end up losing the next 4.
And then... got clapped up the next 4. Like...
So, like, no. Why do you have to control it or come up with some weak, terrible excuse? And the thing he said that he broke his hand in game 1. Who in the hell will hold this type of news for 3 games?
Man.
Who? And it's LeBron James. When Derrick Rose went down with his injury, it was breaking news. We knew right then and there what happened.
Exactly.
Brian James breaks his hand. And we don't know until 3 games later. And it's the NBA Finals. Means that this is the only basketball I get to watch.
The thing is, it's okay. The way he dunked on Clay and them, you don't forgive something like that. How dare you go on TV and tell that lie like that?
Okay, and here's another thing about that whole story right now. It's like, my dad, he actually had an injury where he broke both his wrists and like his elbow.
What?
And yeah, it was like what happened was like it was like a freak thing that happened where he had to land basically on his hands or he would have landed on his head.
Oh wow.
I think it was like when it was long time ago. So he told me that he had to drive home because he thought like it's probably just like a little sprain or something was going on. He told me that it took him 30 minutes to open his car door.
Oh.
Okay?
Yeah.
And this is with a broken wrist. 2 broken wrists, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, why am I telling that story? Because the wrist is a part of your damn hand. LeBron James we'll probably say on average, I'm not going to like say exactly, but we'll say he probably played 40 minutes per game. Okay?
Right.
If it takes my dad 30 minutes just to open his car door, don't forget about driving. Forget about that. Just open the door with a broken wrist. You tell me that LeBron James can dribble a basketball with a broken hand with no problem? He could shoot with no problem. He could catch the ball with both hands, no problem. But his hands broke though.
All I'm saying is there's a poster out there somewhere with Draymond, Clay, Iggy. I know it's out there somewhere with that broken hand in it. But
You're like, okay, sure.
That was one of the most ridiculous. Okay, now
That was comical. That was comical for me.
I mean, what if he didn't break his hand? What if what if he was able to body bag people on every play like that without the broken, you know what I mean? Like, since we're on the what if section, maybe they.
What if he didn't break his hand? I'm gonna give you the news. You just saw what if he didn't break his hand. You just saw it. You just saw what he would do if he didn't break his hand. He did everything that he could possibly do without breaking his hand because he never broke his hand. That's why. He never broke his hand. Like, good grief, man. That's crazy.
What's
it's
one
like
of the?
He has to control the narrative. I don't understand it.
We're gonna get into LeBron later. It's a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we're gonna get that later. That's a whole lot with that. He has a crazy, unique career in his own right that we have to get into later.
Right, and definitely one of the great. Don't get it twisted. He's definitely one of the, not even top 10, top 5 probably ever. But
no problem. No problem with that.
With that being said, so that kind of leads me into, because we talk about him dunking and all that. Who does he play like? Because I always hear people, oh, he plays like Magic. He plays like a combination of Magic and Jordan, but I don't really see that. I don't see the combination of Magic and Jordan.
You see a combination of Magic and Jordan?
I don't see the combination. I don't feel like he plays how that combination would play, you know?
Nah, for me, and I have to compare him because I know people say, like, oh, he's being compared to the Jordan, LeBron, James conversation all the time, which the reason why, because people are saying that that's the greatest of their generation.
Mm-hmm.
I do see a lot of Magic Johnson there because he is a freak athlete in their own right. Their play styles aren't similar to where they use their vision. That's really like their strong point is their vision. Mm-hmm. LeBron James has one of the best visions in the game. Okay. That's not me being a fan or anything like that. That's just being truthful. Man's vision is great. Magic Johnson also used his vision. They both were not great shooters. They're not really good shooters. Mm-hmm. You would much rather want Magic Johnson or LeBron James to take 3-point shots. Right. Now, if they're hitting, they become virtually unstoppable. Mm-hmm. They both excel at downhill. Let me get to the basket. Either I finish or I find the open man.
Yeah.
That's where they are very strong at. Magic Johnson was a post-up player, but he wasn't a physical post-up player. Mm-hmm. He was able to, use like finesse, like little hook shots, up and under, etc. LeBron James is built like a tank. Yeah. He uses his strength in the post to get the easy shots. He's able to be able to muscle more people out of the way than Magic can. Mm-hmm. So to me, LeBron James is kind of crazy that I can say this, is almost a higher version of Magic to a certain extent.
I could see that.
That's how I see it.
But when I look at him a little bit different. I could see a lot of people probably don't think of it this way, but I would say like a souped up version of Scottie Pippen.
Really?
I see a lot of Scottie in him because people sleep on Scottie Pippen's playmaking ability. He was really athletic. He got the same height. I mean, obviously, no one's built like LeBron. I mean, 6'10", 260, 270. Zion's not even built like that.
He's 6'5", like
smaller than that. He moves like he's 6'2". Sometimes, like, I kind of see. I would say he plays like. I see some Scottie in there, but if I had to put like a real combination, I would say like a combination of J Kidd and Dr. J.
Ooh, okay.
That's how I look at him. I guess you could say that's, make a guy 6'9", put this, that's, Magic. Without the athleticism.
Yeah, that's basically Magic.
Yeah,
that's kind of Magic. That's kind of Magic. Yeah, that's definitely Magic. But I don't see the Scottie Pippen part, though. Kind of don't.
Definitely not as good defensively.
Help me out with that.
Definitely not as good defensively.
No.
I'm looking at the playmaking ability. I think he made it a lot simpler for Jordan sometimes and for the teammates to kind of get involved. I feel like he was the balance. Kind of like how Harden was to Russ and KD. You get what I'm saying?
Okay. So he was kind of like so you say he has that bridge.
Exactly.
Okay.
So when I say Scottie, I'm saying in that regard. And again, Scottie he could jump, man. He could jump, and he was really good at using his length and physicality on even bigger, like heavier players. Like people sleep on that. LeBron, when he's in, I mean, again, he's not the greatest defender, but when he's on them smaller guards, man, like you got that weight advantage. Put that chest on you, you ain't going nowhere.
Now, I think people are sleeping on LeBron James' defense now because obviously he's older. Like, he's 35 years old. Like, even though he's a specimen that he is, like, back when he was, like, with Cleveland, like, young Cleveland and, like, Miami Heat, LeBron James' defense was, top notch. Like, he made first team all defense 5 years in a row.
Now, this is where I'm going to challenge you on that.
Okay.
So, let's talk about that Miami team. Who was on that team?
D-Wade, Bosh, LeBron?
D-Wade, Bosh, LeBron, Shane Battier, Mike Miller. They had, let's keep Rashard Lewis, another great defender.
Okay.
What was they were really big on trapping, right?
Right.
So they're shrinking the court. So this big 6'10", 270-pound mud, you know what I mean? Like, I felt like that took a lot of responsibility away. And people are like, oh, he's clearly the greatest chase down blocker of all time, right? Now, if you're a great chase down blocker on the guy you're guarding, what does that tell me? You're getting blown by. Your lateral quickness is not, to me, he was able to use his size, athleticism, his gift to recover on plays. Right? So, and part of it was so, like, that he kind of, because he was so nimble and all that, like, a lot of bigs do that, where they'll give you the lane, like, yeah, go ahead so I can pin that. Like DeAndre Jordan, JaVale, they'll do that. I don't think that was always his intention. I've seen him getting blown past quite a bit, and I look at the responsibility of guarding other star players. People don't talk about it. But I've seen Kobe on both ends get on him. I've seen T-Mac give him the business. I saw a young Danny Granger, a young Paul George, a lot of the Paul Pierce, a lot of the star players at that small forward position would give him the business. Even Kawhi in his first, 2 years, he didn't have no offense. But if you watch him in the playoffs against LeBron, he was giving LeBron buckets. So this defense that everybody's talking about, and you also have to put in context, who were the other players at that position at that time? T-Mac wasn't a small forward. That was a 2. Vince Carter, that's a 2. Kobe, a 2. So Dwayne Wade, that's a 2. All those people in the air. What small forwards were locked down small forwards when LeBron was younger? KG's a power forward that could play small forward. You know what I'm saying? Like, he just didn't, like...
Yeah, I see what you're saying.
So when you make, these selections for these teams and all that, people, it's just like the All-Star thing. I say it all the time. Kyle Lowry was an All-Star. I don't want to hear about All-Star selections.
Here we go.
Like, I'm sorry, come on, man. Like, I'm off listen, Kyle Lowry seems like a chill dude, but I don't want to hear nothing about no All-Star. Goran Dragic made the All-Star selection. Like, don't talk to me about All-Star selections and guys making this team. Klay Thompson has missed a ridiculous amount of defensive teams. A ridiculous amount.
Yeah.
Jimmy Butler has been snuffed. You want to talk about getting robbed? Damian Lillard was the poster child for getting robbed when it came to selections for like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
Now he's getting the credit. But that's how it is. Like, I mean, it's the same thing happened with Gilbert Arenas. Man's averaging, 32, 33, don't make the All-Star team. Huh? And your team's winning games. So when it comes to those selections, I don't pay that stuff no attention anymore. I mean, we know who the best defenders are in the league. You can't tell me Klay on one of them teams.
Yeah, you can't. Nah, you really can't leave him out.
And then they have, and Russ is an MVP, but I look at, like, and again, I stopped looking at these lists, but they had him where it was like, he was on one of the all first teams, right? Typically, they go by position. So the list was something like, okay, Steph, Russ, Harden, KD, LeBron. But last year, you didn't do that. You had DeMarcus, AD, LeBron, Harden, Steph. So they just changed the rule. They acknowledge who they want to acknowledge when they want to. Exactly. And it should be the best players. It really shouldn't go by that. But there's no consistency when it comes to these all-star selections and all that. Like, again, when it comes back, and I'm sticking with the all-star thing because I'm kind of battered by that. Because, like, stuff like Zaza Pachulia having more votes than Kevin Durant. Like, some of the stuff, you know, when I'm thinking about it, just take the fan vote away because we don't know how to act. Like, Alex Caruso almost made it this year.
Yeah, you better.
Alex Caruso had more votes than Jimmy Butler. Like, what?
I think the fans, honestly, I think we're trolling when it comes to that.
Yeah, it's trolling every year now. They need to start tracking people down and banning them from life because that's foolishness. Alex Caruso, Zaza Pachulia, come on, man. I mean, okay, so let me calm down and we're gonna get into who plays like who because we were talking about LeBron playing like who we thought he played like, but who are some other? Who do you think Luka plays like?
Luka is a very, very tricky player
because he is not athletic.
No, not that. Well,
not that athletic,
guy, but it's not like the athleticism that we're accustomed to seeing.
Yeah.
It's the craftiness. So it's a crafty player that we could probably come up with that will fit him perfectly. But the problem is, all the crafty players I could think of doesn't have the range on a 3-point shot that he has.
Ginobili.
That's the difficulty. Do you think Ginobili?
Ginobili was definitely craftier, but I could see a little bit of Ginobili in this game.
Like, he has a mix, because Ginobili is the crafty part, but he has that athleticism. He has the athleticism that everybody know about. He just doesn't show. Actually, you know what? That actually might be the guy.
You think it's Ginobili?
Yeah, I think so. Because people don't really pay attention to his athleticism. He has it.
He knows how to use it.
On a lot of people. He knows how to get to the basket.
He knows how to use it for sure.
Yeah.
I would say it's not just Ginobili. I'm trying to think of. I'm gonna say he kind of reminds me of, cause he's a really good all around guy. Like,
yeah,
man,
it's like he like took bits and pieces from certain players and whatnot.
Yeah, it's always kind of hard to put one or two names to it.
Who is it that he plays like?
Because you can definitely see like a little imprint in Kobe on him.
Yep. I see a little bit of Kobe. I see a little bit of Ginobili. Potentially a little bit of James Harden.
Yeah.
A little bit of Harden.
And I will say this, the way he keeps his game simplified, I also feel like there's some Lou Will there.
A little bit. Just a little bit. It's like he almost took a lot of the modern day guys and just kind of put it together and see what it came up with. And he come up with a lot of positive stuff.
Yeah, he's a hard one to figure out. What about
it's a really hard one.
Let's do Giannis. I'm gonna guess you're just gonna say a 7-foot Russ.
You could say a 7-foot Russ. You could say
Shaq if he was a small forward.
Shaq. A more scoring orientated Magic Johnson.
I'm gonna do one that people don't think about. I'm gonna say, with the exception of the playmaking, because he couldn't pass like him, Timberwolves KG, MVP. I feel like he has that like ferocity in his game, you know?
I can see that. That's not a bad pick. That's not a bad one at all, actually. It's really not.
Same, I mean, definitely not the same build, but you know, same height pretty much. And people forget KG had bounce too, so and he got a nice little mid range game on him too. I could see in the half court, kind of like a. I would also say, little Dr. J, like he really uses it, like he really be striding, man, like 2 steps, and he's literally.
That's probably Dr. J right there. It's a really, really taller version without the afro.
Yeah. Now that's a combination of Dr. J and Scotty. That mud.
Actually, you probably take off. You probably Giannis Antetokounmpo height was probably just added by the afro from Dr. J. That boy was huge.
Boy was still in height.
He definitely had to take care of his hair.
Okay, now.
Who do you think of? I got one myself.
Oh, yeah.
Who do you think Klay Thompson played like?
Man, that is a good one. Shoot. You got me stuck on that one, dog. Klay?
You don't know?
Obviously, offensively, not young Jesus Shuttleworth, but shooting that catch and shoot Ray, of course. I would say I see a lot of rip in him.
Not bad. I like that. That's a good one. I like that one. Now, believe it or not, me and a good friend of mine, I'm not going to mention his name,
You gonna say Paisley?
Like looking just on YouTube, just chilling, just seeing like who like people played like, and we saw Klay Thompson's shot and how he was shooting, etc., all the movement and whatnot, and it got compared to Drazen Petrovic from the New Jersey Nets.
Okay, so you guys were talking about just the shooting. I was talking about his game.
I'm just saying, like offensively, I just went off. That's just the tip of the iceberg was the shooting.
Right.
Everything from the way they shot was pretty similar, and then I started seeing what Drazen Petrovic was doing off the ball, and it was completely similar to what Klay Thompson is doing today.
Yeah.
So me and my boy came to the conclusion that Klay Thompson was watching Drazen Petrovic a lot.
One of the best shooters. I mean, yeah, that's a good one to be watching.
And that's one of the better shooters of all time that unfortunately his life got cut short. But still, when he was there, that's one of the better shooters that people don't know about. And now you're seeing why, because Klay Thompson is displaying how he played. And that's why I got out of it.
I'm gonna run this idea by you and see if you agree. Would you agree? I really do think that Klay is probably the best 3-and-D player ever. I don't know another 2-guard that can literally shoot like that, or another player that can shoot like that and then guard at the level he does. Because Klay is big. He's a shooting guard, but he's really 6'7", 6'8". He's a small forward. That's big as Draymond, you know?
I have to agree with that. Because, like you said, nobody had the marksmanship that Klay Thompson had, and then also has the ability to go in that same game and guard the team's best perimeter player.
And then give you a 60-piece and not even dribble.
Right. Or don't even have the ball in his hands for the majority of the time, which to me, it don't make any sense.
That man had 60. Had the ball in his hands 11 seconds. Like, huh? How y'all do the math on that?
That ball in his hands for 11 seconds, and he put up like 40-something points. And it's like, so did the ball even touch your hands, or did he just like fling the ball up and it just kept going in? Like, it's crazy. Like how quick his shot is.
Yeah. Who do you think? And he's definitely one of my favorite players for young players. Who do you think Jaylen Brown plays like?
Jaylen Brown. Really good lockdown defender.
Right.
He's not a guy. He's not the guy that you would run your offense through, but he knew what to do with the ball. So from that, I'd say he is a better version of Tayshaun Prince.
Ooh. Now,
He's a better version of Tayshaun Prince.
I was gonna go in an entirely different direction. I'm thinking about now. I should have probably specified this, but when he's scoring the ball, like because he's so athletic, he has glimpses where he looks a lot like Dominique in terms of his game, not the athleticism, but his game.
Okay.
Really similar to me.
Dominique Wilkins. Like I never really got that out of Jaylen Brown. I always knew him off his athleticism, and he was able to display it defensively.
Yeah, I'm saying on the offensive, definitely not the defensive, definitely not in the rebounding, but I'm saying because Dominique was really an all around guy, but I'm looking at just score when he's scoring, you know.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. But for me, the thing that turns me off from that description of him is the shooting. Because his shooting can sometimes be a little, how would I say, sporadic. Like, it'd be on, it's on, but when it's not, it's not.
You know what?
And it's not like he's taking mid-range shots.
What's interesting about that is you're speaking on a sporadic part of his shooting, but I feel like that's actually literally the Boston team. Like Jason Tatum, I feel like has that issue too, where it's like, and part of it for him, I think, is shot selection. He's definitely got to get a little bit wiser on that, but I definitely think as a team, like Hayward and those guys, it's not so much for Kemba, because Kemba is more of he scores, but he plays more pure point on that team.
Right.
So he doesn't really have that issue. Typically, when he doesn't try to score enough. I think that's the problem there sometimes. But yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah, I'm saying to me, Tayshaun Prince would fit him a lot better to me than Dominique Wilkins. And that's not being being disrespectful or anything like that.
No.
It's just that I see him he's only 6'6", but he plays a lot longer than what he is.
So that brings me, and I want to get into this in the next video because we're about to wrap this up. But I want to get into, because you're saying he plays like him, but I want to get into how these guys train, because every year these guys bring back something different. So we'll get into that on the next episode. But wrapping this up, I think we got into just about everything. We got into the what ifs, who played like who. We didn't do a whole bunch of it, but it was a good conversation. I think we got a lot accomplished again. Thanks for coming on again, brother.
Yeah, no problem, man. No problem, man. You know I always like coming on here, man.
Absolutely.
I talk to the people.
And let me take your steps, because you promoted my stuff coming on here. So if you haven't gone to see episode 1, go watch that. This is episode 2. Episode 3 will be coming out soon with my guy Todd Jones. So this is the Livewire Sports Channel podcast. I'm your host, Jay Barlow. This is
Todd Jones,
my guy. All right. Well, thanks guys for joining. Please stay updated and give us a like, subscribe, share, all that. Thank you. Take care.